My name is Alanna Rodriguez, and I want to share a few tips with you about how to overcome procrastination, especially with finals looming. So I have struggled with procrastination almost all my life, and one way that I have found in overcoming it is understanding where procrastination comes from. So oftentimes procrastination is a response to stress or boredom. So in one end, I might be overwhelmed because there's this task that just seems so daunting and I don't know how to finish it. Or on the other end, it's like so boring, I'm just not interested in it and I just can't find a way to even start it. And with that, there's oftentimes comes this emotional weight of guilt because, there's a deadline and I've missed that deadline, and then now, people may view me differently or whatever it may be. But I learned that I need to just let that baggage go. I don't care what people think about me. At the end of the day, what's important is this verse. So, Colossians 3:23 and 24. It says, "And whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord and not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ." And that first was the first step for me in overcoming procrastination. One, recognizing that shame, that guilt, and missing that deadline that comes from how people view me or whatever it may be is not that important. The most important thing is that I'm doing something for the Lord. Now, that still doesn't excuse the fact that I haven't completed that task or that paper or whatever it may be. And so I would claim this verse and I would say, Lord, help me to see this assignment from your perspective. You are the one that created every single subject that I'm learning right now. Help me to see this assignment from your perspective. And I would pray and I would ask God to teach me. And then on a practical note, I would take that assignment and break it down into smaller pieces. Now, this doesn't work for everyone, but it worked for me. And so sometimes it would just be, okay, I'm gonna, choose a topic if I'm writing a paper. Or if it's a project, I would say, okay, I'm gonna choose the background slides to my presentation. Or I'm gonna pick a research paper to read. And so I would break down my assignment into smaller pieces, and then I would choose the easiest one. Maybe it might be something that only takes like maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and that's what I would do. And so what would happen is as I did the little things first, I was able to cross off things on my list quicker, and I felt a sense of accomplishment, and I was grateful. Then the next step I would do is I would choose a time limit. So I would give myself 20 minutes. Okay, 20 minutes, I have 20 minutes to work and that's it. I'm gonna take a break. And so I would work for those 20 minutes and I would be surprised how much I could get done. So then I would go back and review everything that I had done, and I would have that sense of accomplishment. I realized that overcoming procrastination is actually a very mental and emotional task, because we're overcoming these feelings and these thoughts and these obstacles that oftentimes prevent us from just taking the first step. So, by way of review, the first thing I did is I would pray and I would ask God to give me his perspective and to remove the weight and the guilt and the shame that comes from missing the deadline. And then secondly, I would break down my task into smaller pieces. Third, I would begin working on the things that were the easiest, crossing those off on my list. And then lastly, I would give myself just 20 minutes, that 25 minutes of focused work, and then giving myself a break, oftentimes would allow me to accomplish a really big task in very short incremented times. The beautiful thing that comes by going through this process is that you invite God to come into that space of your homework. And it's amazing because you begin to have God as your master teacher. And then when you finish the assignment, you begin to see his perspective on whatever subject you're in. And it's such a great privilege and joy to be able to see how God helps through those moments of procrastination.